A mysterious buried village, a castle, and the largest freshwater lake in Glamorgan. It's time for another great walk in Wales. Well, hello and welcome, and for today's adventure I'm walking Kenfig Nature Reserve just to the west of Porthcawl. Apart from the beautiful wild landscape, I'm going to encounter a shipwreck, a buried village, and of course, being Wales, a castle. Kenfig Nature Reserve was part of a much larger dune system. Originally it stretched all the way from the Ogmore River along the South Wales coast to the Gower. It's home to a wide variety of rare and endangered species of plants and animals, and is designated an SSSI, that's a Site of Special Scientific Interest. So it's going to be a 6-mile circular route starting and ending at Kenfig Pool. At 70 acres, Kenfig Pool is the largest freshwater lake in Glamorgan and the second largest in South Wales. At the end of the video, I'll be showing you the map of the route, and on the way, I'll be showing you some of the key features to look out for. But don't worry too much about the route. One of the best ways to explore Kenfig Dunes is just to simply take a random path and head off and see what you discover. So let's get started. We're going to walk along the road towards the old buried town of Kenfig. On the way, we'll be walking past New Kenfig. But when I say new, the Prince of Wales pub, which was originally built as a town hall, was erected in 1605. After they built the town hall, which is now the Prince of Wales pub, other houses sprang up along the road. They built there because it was to the western side of Kenfig Pool, and Kenfig Pool provided some protection from the westerly winds and the encroaching sand. Well, next to the main car park of Kenfig Nature Reserve, you'll find the Dunes Well. This was the main water source for houses in the area. Although the larger houses, the grander houses along the road, they would have had their own private well. So now I'm walking along the main road past the present village of Kenfig. Most of these houses were built in the 1600s. Past the old town hall, the Prince of Wales pub, round the corner up to Maudlam Church. From Maudlam Church, we're then going to cross back into the dunes and head towards the old buried town of Kenfig. I'm now walking past the Prince of Wales, and it's a really good place to come after the walk to come and grab a drink. Unfortunately, because of the present situation, it's still closed. But anyway, getting back to the pub itself, on the first floor you'll find a long room, and that's been in use for centuries. It's been used as a town hall, a courthouse, and for 130 years there was even a Sunday school here. Originally it was called Tŷ Newydd, which means new house, but in the late 18th century it changed its name to the Prince of Wales in honour of George, who was then the Prince of Wales. This is interesting. I didn't know this was here. In the car park of the Prince of Wales, they've got a commemoration to the RNLI and all those who lost their lives at sea. So I walked from the Prince of Wales pub along the main road as far as Maudlam and the church and the Angel Inn. From here I'm going to cross over into the dunes and follow the M4 until we get to the main railway line, and there you can't miss, on your left you'll see the tower of old Kenfig Castle. So opposite the church there's a sign saying public bridle way. We're going to follow that alongside the M4 until we get to the main line. Then we're going to turn left towards the old buried town of Kenfig. Kenfig Castle was established in the early 12th century by Robert, Earl of Gloucester. It was built on a mound, and to the west of it was the River Kenfig, which curled round to the north. Apparently the early structure was quite elegant. Hello! By 1183, the borough of Kenfig had been developed to the south of the castle, but this was a frontier town. The Welsh sacked Kenfig on at least 6 occasions during the 12th and 13th centuries. In the early 14th century, the castle was substantially reconstructed. A new tower was added, as well as a curtain wall, and down there a new gatehouse. Despite their efforts over the years to defend the castle, there was one thing they couldn't repel: the sand. By the 15th century, the castle was abandoned. They just couldn't stop the encroaching sand. So hidden under these dunes is the old town of Kenfig. If you want to see more about the old town of Kenfig, Channel 4's Time Team came here in 2012 and excavated the area. I think it's season 19, episode 8, The Secret of the Dunes, if you want to check that out on YouTube. Just to the south of the castle, you'll find a natural spring, and in its day it was referred to as a holy well. But this one was quite specific. It was said to heal eye diseases. I was thinking of coming down here with and doing some magnet fishing in the water and see what we could find. Never know, could find Excalibur. As you can see, the sun's quite bright now, glasses on, and we're going to head south-southwest across the dunes towards the sea. It's going to be about a mile walk. So, just before you get to the beach, you'll come across a path, which is actually a road. It was a private road constructed in the late 1960s when they were building the Port Talbot deep water harbour. It used to run all the way from South Kennelly quarries along the edge of the dunes. It used to carry those heavy 35-ton lorries carrying stones quarried from Kennelly, and they were used to construct the breakwater of the new harbour. Just before I get to the beach, I've managed to find this. I've been looking for this for a couple of weeks. It's an old World War II pillbox which has been uncovered. It is quite tricky to find. Actually, if you walked in the coastal path, just before the path curves to the bridge to cross the Kenfig River, it's on the left hand side. So I've made it across the dunes, and now I'm on Kenfig Sands, and I'm walking across the beach east towards Scare Point. As I do so, I'm approaching a wreck. It's the old fishing trawler, the Altmark, which was en route from Britain Ferry to Barry in June 1960. Unfortunately, it ran aground after engine failure, but the There's only one person on board and they were safely rescued, but the old trawler was left to rot. All that remains is a skeleton of the hull. Just to give you some indication of where the pillbox was, it's on the dunes about 100 yards west of the wreck. So one thing to mention when walking back along the beach of Kenfig Sands is it's quite popular with nudists, older nudists. So just bear that in mind if you're up and down the dunes. You may be confronted by a little more than you expected. So I've left the beach. I'm going to head back to the coastal path and head east towards Scare Point, and then I'm going to turn in back up to Kenfig Pool and back to the car park. So let's go. On this part of the coastal path, just before we turn off back to Kenfig Pool, you can really see the coastal erosion. You can see the road that used to carry those lorries that was built in the 1960s has now, half of it has collapsed onto the beach. This is the point we're going to turn left from the coastal path inland towards Kenfig Pool. So there's a number of left turns you can take. They all take you towards Kenfig Pool. Some are signposted, some aren't. If you want to know where on the beach, if the tide's out, you can see a reef, a black reef. Just before that, take a left, or you can see a dune coming up just before that. And I would say we're about 400 yards from the start of Scare Point. Turn left any point there and that'll take you back to Kenfig Pool and the car park. So I'm now back at Kenfig Pool, and Kenfig Pool is popular with bird spotters and photographers as it's a stopping point for many migrating birds, and they've got a couple of these hides around the pool for the photographers and bird spotters, and they are all back open as well. There's a legend that under Kenfig Pool lies a drowned town, and before a disaster or a great storm you can hear the toll of the church bell. It sounds romantic, but it's a load of rubbish. Kenfig Pool is only 12 foot deep, and the only town that was swallowed up was Kenfig, which was buried by the sand by the castle. Although it's a romantic story, we like those. I hope you enjoyed my little walk around Kenfig Nature Reserve. As you can see, it's really close to the M4, so it's really easy to get to. So when we're allowed to travel, take a trip down, explore the dunes, explore the beaches. It's really beautiful. So until next time, or before we go, if you want to see more of Wales, check out the playlist below. We've got castles, more walks in Wales, all there. So until next time, that's a bye from me. Bye.